here we are. Hey, folks. We're here again. I'm going to jump into some of the other stuff going on, but since we got a lot of songs, let's jump into the next song. Folk, 1971. And the next song is going to be... this is the one I haven't heard. I'm going to go off the rails a little bit with this one. But it's going to show, the real envelope of what was going on at the time. Even if it wasn't as mainstream and immediately popular and pushed and supported like John Prine was. So let's jump into this band, Comus. And we're going to do the song called The Herald. Here we go, Folk, 1971. Sorry, before I start, let me talk about who you're gonna hear on this. I got to name the artists before the players. So we are gonna have Glenn Goring on 6 and 12 string guitars, slide and vocals. Andy Hellaby on Fender bass. Colin Pearson on violin and viola. Roger Wooten on acoustic guitar. Rob Young on flute, oboe, and hand drums, and Bobby Watson on vocals and percussion. All right, let's continue. Haven't heard this, by the way. No idea.
As a single star
it's a natural place to pause. So we're only about a third into the song, so obviously we'll see what's gonna happen. But so far, yeah, this is beautiful, serene. I love all the guitars and I guess there is violin or viola in the background, kind of doing some melody, harmony work, and the woman's voice. I don't know. I don't think I said who the singer is. This is something when I do the recordings, I seemingly get all this information and it's lyrics, but I don't know who that is. So I'm gonna have to put that in afterward. So yeah, by the time this comes out, I'll flash her name up there somewhere because she's got a beautiful, beautiful voice. And it's more like the I've done in 1970, I think it was Vashti Bunyan who came out with their album Diamond Day, and it kind of reminiscent of that style of folk, not of her specifically, but just having a very, very high and very clear voice, that style of folk, not what became the sort of Joan Baez style folk and stuff like that. But yeah, her voice is very musical and it fits in with the instruments. It feels like it's an instrument. It's not someone like singing. I don't even know if she's singing words. It just sounds like she's just singing. I just hear these beautiful sounds mixing in with the music. So yeah, guitars, violas, bass, everything so far sounds so beautiful. I've never heard this tune. I've never heard this band before. So, and I know we'll get into more information about them afterwards. But for now, yeah, let's keep going. So yeah, we're about a third in. Here we go. The Herald. That part. So the first part, great introduction. It was like 3 minutes with the vocal. The female is beautiful. The second part was definitely, so far, grabbed me 100%. And not to associate myself with, because obviously I wasn't alive in a degree, but this is pretty much very close to a style that not necessarily I listen to, but I'd say the style that I generally play if I'm just playing in the moment, if I'm just like practicing on acoustic guitar and I'm just sort of, looking for things, looking for changes, looking for chords, looking for moods, and just say playing for a half hour, just whatever. I have no idea what I'm doing. This sounds like something that I would be in that orbit for sure. And I wish I had, other instruments with me to add into that. I wish I had the viola and the flutes and the other stuff in there with me too. But yeah, definitely what the guitar was doing was beautiful. Great sound. Yeah, great production. I love it. It's so warm and so moody. And as chord changes, yeah, you don't know where they're going to land, They go from sort of, you think they're in this sort of like searching, and then it gets dark, and then it's like, oh, uplifting. But I love that. It kind of reminded me for a second of Harold Budd. It was very ambient music, and just sort of found him very recently. I don't know what years the ones I listened to were around. I assume there were some in the early 70s, might have been later. But yeah, and as I've grown older, I've gravitated more towards some of the stuff. I don't know how I would have felt in my early days with this. It might have been a little bit too long and seemingly like unfocused. I may have thought of it as unfocused or a little bit too long. I need something more compact and more something engaging, I guess. But now, yeah, I like more of these. I can listen to a lot of these sort of searching journeys, that aren't necessarily like, it's sort of more in the moment. They're not worried about like, oh, we're going to play this for 16 bars and go here and do this. It's not so fragmented. It's a little bit more loose. But anyway, a lot of talk. Let's finish this out. We've got a few more minutes. So yeah, so far I'm going to definitely explore these guys more, because yeah, this is really nice. It's a beautiful sound. I'm going to go back a little bit. Oh, wow. I have 3 more songs to listen to. So I think it's safe to say that this song, even though it's my first time hearing it, so it has some bias, whereas some other songs that I would consider like very, very, very powerful and important songs. If I heard these all for the first time, I'm not sure which one would have the most impact on me, but I kind of feel like I do know, but I'll save that for later. But for right now, this one is just, I don't know who else knew these guys, but yeah, this is powerful. This is like so beautiful. I mean, there's parts in there where I can't tell the they have a vocal, they got the violin, they have the oboe. I think there's some slide. I don't know what they're sliding on, if they're guitars or electric or other things, but there's 4 potential instruments, which I didn't know. It was really hard to tell which one was which. Like, there's a part with the oboe where I was like, that could be a vocal. There's a part with the violin or the slide where I was like, that could be, I don't know what that is. But it could be, because without the attack, this is, I don't know, I feel this is true, but it's potentially not true, but I still feel like they basically say that the timbre of an instrument, or what we consider the personality of an instrument, what we think of as an instrument sound, like a violin or a guitar or a saxophone, is mostly in the attack. That if you take away the attack of that sound and you're just left with the that you really can't identify what instrument it is apart from any other instrument. In other words, you could have the flute sound and the tenor sax sound and a vocal sound without the attack, and you wouldn't be able to tell which one was which. Anyway, there's maybe all true or some percent true, or whatever. But yeah, I feel like that there was parts of sound where I was like, is that her singing or is that the oboe? Is that, but that's just amazing. I love that song. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna listen to more of them. So that is Comus. The band is Comus. Again, I'll put the woman's name up on here, the video, when I do it, because I'm not sure who that was. I don't have her here. But anyway, that was called Herald, or The Herald. And that was on their debut album as well. I do have the lyrics up here. So yeah, as a single star glides swiftly down the night, a soft wedding note issues from the time-worn flute. Frowning slightly, the herald listens wistful across the night, and from way back behind the day comes the echoed answer. And somewhere in the black distance, another herald puts down his flute, and the dewy dawn creeps on, and the night withdraws. On Saturday, August 16th, 1969, while the Woodstock Festival was into its second day, with performances by Santana, Sly and the Family Stone, The Who, and many others, the Incredible String Band, a much smaller event took place in South London. It was the Beckenham Free Festival, showcasing arts and music in an attempt to raise money for the Arts Lab, a small community of artists led by then folkie David Bowie. Bowie performed that afternoon and later immortalized the event in the song Memory of a Free Festival, which was on his first album, or not his first album, but his Space Oddity album. And yeah, I've read before about his interactions with the Arts Lab, and he had some falling out and things like that with different members, the direction and so forth. Anyway, in that festival, the band's name was Comus, and they sounded like no other band on earth. That remains true to this day. Their first album, First Utterance, an album that has since become synonymous with the acid folk genre. Their listening habits were wide and included their contemporaries, King Crimson and Pink Floyd, and also modern classical composers Toru Takemitsu and Messiaen. In the emerging folk scene, they respected John Reborn, Bert Jantz, and their band, The Pentacle. The majors spun off smaller labels who focused on the fringe. EMI created Harvest, Philips did the same with Vertigo, Decca had their Duram label. This song was co-written by Glenn, and bass player Andy Hellaby had discovered this technique of using a slide on the bass. Okay, so I wasn't sure what the slide was on the bass with the playing hand rather than the fretting hand. It was so atmospheric, it got Glenn and I going. I wrote these wistful, mythical lyrics, and Glenn came up with his finger-picking guitar solo. Bobby Watson's angelic vocals. Oh, so I guess it is her. I did say her. Bobby Watson on vocals and percussion. I just assumed it was a guy. Okay, so Bobby Watson was the female angelic vocalist. Sounds great with that intricate melody. The piece also features great contributions by Colin Pearson on violin and Rob Young on flute and oboe. Bobby Watson, the singer, said years later, "I've never told anybody what I'd done. Comus was so strange, it didn't seem to have any relation to any other music at all. Dawn, the record label, pressed only 10,000 vinyl copies of the record, and the band lost its mojo after the record's commercial failure and never recorded that type of music again." So, that is Comus. Yeah, First Utterance is the album, and Herald, or The Herald, was the song, and came out, in 1971. Yeah, amazing. I get that it's, it was really avant-garde, but I have a special appreciation for any music that sort of incorporates more orchestral instruments or any other instruments other than just like sort of the basic of what we consider modern music. Obviously nowadays you have all kinds of, synth, and you can have any sound you want. But yeah, even with bands, anything that involves sort of any orchestral or even any other band or brass and woodwind instrument, to me is, it's interesting. It shows that you're, looking for, a little unlimited spectrum of sounds, not just a very typical ones for whatever the time period is you're playing. I feel like folk really gives you that lyrical content, music of the world.